今日もよろしくお願いします。
In a world filled with monsters and magic, Jin Wo, an unlikely hero, is called the weakest hunter. Despite his tough appearance, life hasn't been kind to him. His dad went out for milk, and his mom is in a coma, leaving him broke and responsible for his little sister, using his low-level hunter skills. But before we delve into that, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more fantastic anime recommendations. 10 years ago, huge gates opened up worldwide, unleashing monsters that regular weapons couldn't handle. Then, some humans gained special powers and became known as hunters, ranked from E to S based on their abilities. Even with these powers, humanity must clear dungeons to prevent monsters from coming back. 3 years ago, a nearby island got infested because an S-ranked dungeon wasn't cleared. Even though hunters tried, they couldn't beat the tough ant-like monsters. Now, we're at a construction site where Kim, a seasoned hunter, is getting ready for a raid. Park, another hunter, is surprised to see Kim and wonders if he quit. Kim explains that Park is here to make money for his pregnant wife. Tim, another guy, mentions how raids are good for earning money. But Park is worried because he hasn't been on a raid for a while, and thinks he's not as good anymore. Then, attention shifts to Jin Wo, who arrives humbly. Kim greets him and asks if he's eaten. Park, curious about Jin Wo's strength, gets surprised when Kim reveals that Jin Wo is known as the weakest hunter. Kim thinks the upcoming raid will be easy with Jin Wo around. Trying to be quiet, Kim warns Park not to talk about it too much, but Jin Wo sighs, having heard everything. As Jin Wo walks, he hears a familiar voice. It's Jui, a friend. She asks about the bruises on his face, and Jin Wo casually shares his recent story. He got hurt during an E-ranked dungeon raid because nobody brought a healer. Jui criticizes the overconfidence of higher-ranked hunters who think they won't get hurt. Jin Wo, acknowledging his own weaknesses, concedes that getting hurt has become a regular part of his life. His admission stems from an understanding of his physical limitations, yet he maintains a resilient spirit. As the group readies themselves for the impending dungeon raid, Sung, an experienced and seasoned hunter, takes charge. Sung proposes leading the party as he holds the highest rank among them. The group readily agrees, respecting Sung's expertise. With a collective consensus, they venture into the dungeon. As they step through the gate, Kim, a fellow hunter, offers a protective piece of advice to Jin Wo, urging him to stay close during the raid. Jin Wo, armed with only a simple knife, exhibits determination, expressing that it's the best equipment he can afford at the moment. Undeterred by his limited resources, Jin Wo pledges to give his utmost effort in the upcoming challenges. Meanwhile, a parallel narrative unfolds in the higher echelons of the Hunter Association. The president of the association confides in his right-hand man about a meeting with the government. The government urges the association to refrain from breaking dungeons, but, paradoxically, they demand the supply of goods obtained within these dungeons. The president contemplates these demands, recognizing the economic benefits derived from reselling the acquired goods, particularly crystals obtained from slaying monsters inside dungeons. Within the dungeon, the scene shifts back to Jin Wo. He finds himself covered in blood, a testament to the struggles faced within. However, his hand clutches a valuable crystal, a meager reward for his efforts in defeating a relatively weak goblin. The moment is tinged with a mix of triumph and caution as Jui, a fellow hunter, warns him to remain vigilant. Another goblin launches an attack, but Jin Wo skillfully blocks and evades, showcasing a survival instinct that defies his weakest hunter moniker. Despite his efforts, Jin Wo's blade shatters upon contact with the goblin. Undeterred, the goblin seizes the opportunity to strike, resulting in a painful stab to Jin Wo. Jui looks on with concern, but another hunter, Park, steps forward to eliminate the immediate threat, showcasing camaraderie among the group. Jin Wo, wounded, removes the broken blade, lying on the floor, bleeding. In a different setting, the president of the Hunter Association delves into the intricacies of dungeon loot. He explains that essence stones, obtained from high-rank monsters, serve as crucial components for crafting formidable weapons. Additionally, mana crystals sourced from dungeons possess potential, though their effectiveness varies. The president elucidates that the government's interest in these resources extends beyond profit. They aim to create a new, eco-friendly energy source, surpassing nuclear alternatives. Back in the dungeon, the group manages to defeat the boss, culminating in a moment of triumph. Jui tends to Jin Wo's injuries, prompting a reflective conversation. She inquires about Jin Wo's fervent desire to be a hunter. Expressing concern, she warns him about the potential perils of repeatedly engaging in risky endeavors. As the raid concludes, discussions ensue about the loot obtained from the dungeon. Jin Wo, looking at his meager rewards, experiences a pang of disappointment, contemplating the risks he took for what seems like a pitiful reward. Suddenly, a revelation disrupts the post-raid discussions. There's another entrance nearby. Sung, the experienced hunter, provides insights into this phenomenon, explaining that sometimes dungeons come in pairs. While some find this occurrence peculiar, most interpret it as an opportunity for greater rewards. Sung, addressing the group, emphasizes that the dungeon gate won't close unless they defeat the second dungeon's boss. Sung acknowledges that reporting the situation to the Hunter Association might be the standard protocol, but it poses a risk. Other hunters might seize the opportunity to claim the second boss. In a decisive move, Sung proposes a vote, presenting the group with a choice: pursue the second dungeon or follow the conventional reporting process. With 13 members in total, the vote stands evenly split between yes and no. In a surprising turn of events, Jin Wo emerges as the pivotal vote, holding the fate of the party in his hands. Inside the perilous dungeon, Jin Wo contemplates the dangers that lie ahead. Despite recognizing the risks, he's compelled to proceed due to his dire financial situation. With the burden of sending his sister to college and covering his mother's medical fees, he decides to say yes, motivated by the need to protect his family. Meanwhile, at the Hunter Association, individuals undergo the Hunter Awakening examination. Placing their hands on black crystals, the measurement of their power determines their potential. Guilds, training grounds for hunters, recruit those with promise, with the strongest hunter in the country being Heen, a guild vice leader, and an S rank. Back inside the dungeon, concerns arise among the group as they venture deeper. They've been walking for 40 minutes, with an impending 1-hour time limit to exit the dungeon after defeating the boss. Some members express worry about going too far, with approximately 20 minutes of left. During this time, Jin Wo seizes the chance to apologize to Jui for the situation. Curious, she asks for an explanation. Jin Wo admits his responsibility for her involvement in defeating the second boss. Jui reassures him, stating she's okay, but he persists, prompting her to reveal her frustration. She scolds him, labeling him reckless and questioning his decision to come. Jui emphasizes the severity of his injuries, highlighting the potential fatal consequences. Despite her anger, she flirts with him, suggesting a dinner date as repayment. Jin Wo, bewildered, agrees, blushing at the unexpected turn of events. As the group continues their journey, the realization dawns that they've reached the boss room, complete with an unusual door. Some express confusion as they've never encountered a boss room with a door before. Kim, undeterred, encourages them not to return empty-handed, proposing the exploration of this potentially new dungeon. Despite reservations from others, he declares his intent to proceed alone if necessary. Simultaneously, the individual who underwent the Hunter examination watches a video of President Go emphasizing the importance of caution and survival regardless of one's rank. The group opens the door to the boss room, revealing a captivating space adorned with lit torches. However, their awe is short-lived as they notice several statues in the room, with Jin Wo identifying a larger one seated on a throne. Unease permeates the group as they sense being watched. Strangely, there are no monsters in sight. Sung, observant, notices a magic circle on the floor, and Kim draws attention to a statue with inscriptions. Sung reads aloud, revealing the commandments of the Kartan and temple. The edicts include worshipping God, praising God, and believing in God. Disturbingly, those who disobey are condemned to death. The tension heightens when Jui points out that the eyes of the giant statue seem to have moved. Jin Wo tries to brush off the idea that the moving statues are real. Suddenly, the door slams shut and panic sets in among the group. One guy, regretting their decision to come, touches the door. In an instant, a statue moves and beheads him. Shock and screams fill the air. Jin Wo, feeling hopeless, thinks about the guy's higher rank. The statue goes back to normal, but Jin Wo can't move. He stares at the bigger statue, recalling tough moments in his life, getting hurt in a raid, nearly starving in a maze, and always scraping by with cheap weapons. These memories flood back as he tries to make sense of the deadly situation. Back in the present, Jin Wo shouts for everyone to get down. The big statue shoots lasers from its eyes, killing some hunters. Those left are in shock. Jin Wo protects Jui, but she's terrified. He looks around, confused and trapped, realizing they're in big trouble. In a panic, he knows they might not make it out alive. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more thrilling adventures. Until next time.